This movie, we're going back 10 years, 2014. It got nominated for. My computer decided to stop working there for a second. It got nominated twice. Once for screenplay, once for costumes.
Grand Budapest Hotel.
No, that also got picture, and I've seen that.
Oh, okay.
Screenplay.
Come on, Todd. Adapted screenplay and costumes. It's one that Todd's gonna be mad that I still hadn't seen, and now he's gonna be happy that I have. Anything?
I got nothing.
You let me borrow the book even at one point. Inherent Vice was my Oscar watch for this week.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Inherent Vice, written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, based on the book by Thomas Pynchon, starring Joaquin Phoenix, Josh Brolin, Owen Wilson, Katherine Waterston. Who else is in this movie? Eric Roberts, Hong Chow. Hong Chow is in this movie. Benicio del Toro is in this movie. Michael K. Williams is in this movie. Reese Witherspoon's in this movie. This movie is loaded. This movie has everything. Joaquin Phoenix plays this drugged out private eye in LA in the 70s who gets mixed up in this corruption scheme involving an ex-girlfriend. At least I think that's what was going on. This movie is impossible to understand. Like, I watched this movie like 1.5 times trying to figure out how the plot all fits together. I think the most unrealistic part of this whole movie is you're supposed to believe that Doc, Joaquin Phoenix's character, actually understands the plot of this movie, because I couldn't understand the plot of this movie. It's going so many places. It's bouncing all over the place the entire time. And if I had read the book, I probably would have been able to follow it a little better. But this story is all over the place. Cool performance from Joaquin Phoenix. Like, this is something you don't normally see. Josh Brolin's a lot of fun. Owen Wilson. There's one point where Owen Wilson just like mouths WTF towards the camera, and that was the same thing I thought every time he popped on screen. I'm giving it 2.5 stars. It's a cool movie. I just have no idea what's going on. And I tried to follow it. I really did. But this story, it bounces off way too many places. It's trying to do way too much. And I couldn't follow it. I tried. Sorry, Todd.
Yeah, I'm not like the biggest fan of that movie. The book isn't a whole lot better in explaining things. It is like a very like hallucinatory experience even reading the book. But that was the movie that I did a media blackout for. The only one I was able to successfully do that for. I read the book before the movie was shot, and then I didn't see anything about it until watching the movie. So, and it was sort of like a 3 stars out of respect. But I know other people are big fans of this movie. I think Zach and Adam like it a lot, don't you?
Oh, I like this movie a lot. It's not necessarily top tier Paul Thomas Anderson, but the reason I like it is because it's so much of a takeoff of The Long Goodbye. Like, and it's, I think, really clearly inspired by those 70s detective movies. I believe it was also inspired by Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke. I remember PTA saying. But I guess Terry's right to a certain extent, but no one really understood the plot of The Big Sleep either. So, like, with these film noirs, you get caught up in the kind of over-the-top caricatures, and this movie has a lot of them. And there's a lot of fun stuff in it, too. There's a lot of, like, great scenes and great situational humor. And maybe it doesn't add up to a coherent whole, but that's also kind of Thomas Pynchon. I mean, he's a noted kind of postmodernist writer. But I remember Joaquin Phoenix giving a really awesome performance in it. And I think this was, like, kind of the era of, like, post I'm Not Here Joaquin Phoenix, like, not really wanting to glamorize the role at all. It's almost like it was almost like his role in You Were Never Really Here a little bit. But yeah, I like this movie quite a bit. I remember seeing it when it came out. The trailer is excellent, as are a lot of P.T. Anderson's trailers. So it doesn't quite live up to that. But I remember being hyped for it and pleased by it. Maybe not too different than, like, Licorice Pizza.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one you got to go along for the ride for. And but it's also one. Yeah, you got to go along for the ride, but you feel like you should be able to understand it at the same time. So I don't know. I couldn't get into it. I tried.